Good Friday afternoon, everybody, or evening. Thanks for joining us live today. Us being us in just a moment because, well, if we do this, he's not here yet. So we'll come back to him in just a minute. My name is Darren Pope, and over here will eventually be Victor Farsick, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, we do this live stream called DevOps Paradox Live, and we talk about things of the week. How was your week? Was your week okay? Mine was a bit stressful. And good afternoon, evening, I guess, for most people right now that are watching. We have a lot of people watch from Europe, not a lot from US, at least from what I've seen, at least not live. So, what was your week like? Put it over in the chat over there. Why don't you go ahead and type that in? Tell us what your week was like. And once Victor gets back, we will. Okay, Stefan, I'm glad somebody's week was fantastic. That is a good news. So even if I can't have a great week, I'm glad somebody else did. That's phenomenal. So what's been going on this week? I'm probably overdriving a little bit. That's okay. Victor started his new job, and I'm sure. Oh, there he is. Let's bring him back in. There he is.
Hey.
You started your new job?
Yes, Monday. This is my first week in a new job.
Okay. And you just did a live stream right before this, right?
Yes, I had. We did live streaming. We live streamed onboarding, right? So the guy that experienced engineering in the company just did an hour of onboarding of what I should be onboarded on or know about the products, company, stuff like that. And the company is Upbound, kind of.
Yeah.
It's
the company behind Crossplane, correct?
It's a company behind Crossplane. That's correct. And I guess whomever watches my videos probably is not completely surprised because I don't know, there are maybe 5 tools that I tend to go through over and over again, and Crossplane is one of them.
Yep. And this is, so can people watch the replay of the live stream you just did?
Yeah, it's in YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, of course.
Is it on their channel?
Yeah, on Upbound channel, yes. There is Upbound channel in Crossplane. Most of the things that I will be doing will be in the Crossplane channel, but since this is company onboarding, we put it on the company channel.
How strange was that? To do your onboarding in public in front of 7 billion people?
I don't think it was 7 billion, closer to a billion.
Okay.
But no, it was fun. It was fun, and it's it's in the spirit of open source.
Right.
The more we do in open, the better, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of open things, this week's podcast, are specs still relevant?
Did we get to the conclusion?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it
you
is.
You don't remember, what is it? It was, yes, they're still important, but maybe not to the extent that a lot of people think they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is, in a broader concept, I don't think that we lost any of the things that we were doing like 20 years ago or something like that, or that there are not things that we have been doing 20 years ago and we are not doing anymore. It's just that the dynamics of how we do things, speed with which we do things, and potentially order, and the amount of time we spend on each phase of something is different, right?
Right.
If I would have to summarize compared to my 20 years ago, we do not spend first 3 months of a project on specs anymore.
Yeah. I saw, and I like this comment, Crossplane will be even better with Victor.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I'm not 100% sure with me. You never know whether something will get better or worse. It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. By the way, get your drink out if you haven't already done that. I forgot.
No, I haven't.
I went with caffeine today.
One after.
I need caffeine because I have another live stream.
Wait. Put that can in front of the camera again.
It's caffeinated. It's Coca-Cola. It's Coke Zero.
Okay, zero. Okay, so it's no sugar but caffeine. Okay.
Caffeine, yeah.
I don't know. There are 57 different ways to have Coke. Nobody understands it anymore.
No, they don't. I saw we were talking about I had it and I lost it. It'll come back. I usually don't. We joke a lot about age, right? Just because I am older. But I've been having some like real senior moments this week, and there's reasons for that. I'm not going to get into it. But it's like I can't. It's like my short-term memory is. So what were we talking about?
Your age.
My age. I have not had any caffeine today, so that's my first sip of caffeine. Are specs still relevant? Yes, specifications will always be relevant. Do they need to be? Oh, this is it. It just clicked. So I did see a tweet, and I meant to bookmark it, and I forgot to. But it was a very interesting tweet of companies want us to go fast and fail quickly, but yet they want to have 6 months of Jira tickets built out with all the possible combinations of failure points along the way. So it's when you have that diametrically opposed where things go sideways.
Exactly. That's kind of, I want all the benefits of new ways of doing things without letting go any of the things that I was doing in the past.
That typically will not work. I'm not going to say it will never work, but typically will not work.
I would say it never works. I mean, you cannot, and this is not only for software development, right? You cannot adopt new stuff without letting anything go. I mean, it's a fixed amount of things you can do in parallel or at the same time or within a project. So if you want to adopt something new, you need to let something go.
Yeah, what I was talking about as I'm jumping around here, I've got another live stream after this one. Not right after this one, thankfully. I've got an hour break. Well, not break, but an hour to get ready for it. So we will be done by the top of the hour. Okay, so here's been the piece of news this week. This is where that specifications sort of roll into this. GitHub Copilot. Okay, yet there's another Copilot, so I can no longer just say Copilot anymore. Sorry, Dave. Dave was our guy.
I get it now. I was, to be honest, I was confused the last couple of days. I've been seeing tweets about Copilot and kind of AI something, and I was, okay, you are all eating some funny mushrooms. That was my conclusion. Now I understand that we're not talking about the Copilot, the AWS Copilot thing. This is a different Copilot.
It's a different Copilot.
Okay.
We can and we may, if we have some time, we may talk about the other thing that's been making the rounds around Twitter about Infinidash, the new service from AWS called Infinidash. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
We'll talk about that too, but not right now. So anyway, this has been interesting to watch the big thumbs up and the big thumbs down from a lot of people on this, and then all the memes also created around it that are political that I'm not going to get into. So ignoring that, this was developed in collaboration with OpenAI. It says it's powered by OpenAI Codex. Fair enough. And it's more capable than GPT-3 in code generation, whatever. Now, some people have said it looks like they're just digging through all the GitHub code and just making recommendations from the code in an AI fashion. I don't know. Because I'm not part of the technical preview.
Yeah, I need to try it. I mean,
you have to apply for it, so go do that.
Yeah. But you already suspect it's one of those things that if it's really helpful most of the time, great. If it starts annoying me, then I'll probably turn it off. Kind of,
yep.
Do things that I couldn't do with a human counterpart. When you do pair programming, then I'm more with humans, and I'm more willing to adapt.
Yep. Like this one right here, I'm going to replay this. So you've got a type defined, you've got a function, and you say create category summaries, and then it goes off and writes everything for you. And this is specifically, right now they're covering TypeScript, Go, Ruby, and Python.
Okay. Yeah, but
so here it is.
But then they start asking kind of like, why not just write code and then, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too early.
It is, well, it's technical preview, so fair enough. It is too early. But trained on billions of lines of public code. Okay. I'm down with public code. We're both huge open source proponents.
Yeah.
But not all public code is the greatest of code. I can say that because I've written some of that.
True. But I can say, actually, now when I think about it, I can say the same thing for Stack Overflow, right? Or for anything. But
Okay.
this is basically replacing Stack Overflow copy and paste.
Yes. Keep going.
Right? It is a more convenient way to do the same. And we've all been doing copy and paste from Stack Overflow. If you haven't been doing it, then either you're not working much or you're lying, kind of like. Everybody copies and pastes code from somewhere. It can be Stack Overflow or something else. So this might be actually replacement for that, right?
It could be. I'm still here, but I'm looking for a tweet. So just keep
Yeah.
talking, or I can talk along with you. But it was a tweet that went right along with that. But I can't remember if I saw it. How many hours ago I saw it? So I can't remember who. It was a retweet of a retweet, I think. Those are hard to find. Okay, I can't find it, so I'll come back in.
You know what? GitHub is one of those companies that is reliably doing good stuff.
Yes.
Both before and after they were purchased by Microsoft. So I mean, this might be a great thing, might be a bad thing, but GitHub haven't disappointed me yet, right? Maybe in early stages of something, like GitHub Actions were disappointing first months, but in general, they're doing good things. So
Yeah.
there is no historical reason to believe that this is something terribly bad.
Yeah. The meme that I was trying to find, again, I couldn't remember who it was. It was some character set that was basically, I now rule over all coding, and it was the GitHub Copilot. And then the next frame was, that's what you think, I am you, and it was Stack Overflow. So it was,
Yeah.
we'll see. It was actually a pretty quiet news week, fortunately, or unfortunately, the case may be.
It's summer, right?
It's summer.
I think
yeah.
many things are
It
quiet.
gets bad. Well, and in the U.S., it's a holiday weekend, so most people are probably off this. I know a lot of people have been off the past 2 weeks in the U.S. So,
Yeah.
I saw Lens 5 released. I'm assuming you have not looked at it yet,
No, not yet.
because you just did a Lens 4 video, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. It's the most polished dashboard I've seen.
Yep. I was trying to find secure access sharing for clusters. I think that was one of the big features. But I
Yeah.
thought there was a second one that I called out or saw. Oh, you can share. So you can take and share it with your whole team. So join a space and get instant access. So this is, again, sort of that code space, Git pod, whatever the IntelliJ one is called. Now you can troubleshoot just by sharing.
Yeah. And I've been receiving a lot of notifications, let's say, in that area. That seems to be an area that is exploding. How can we make one form or another of shared development environments?
Yeah, and it's not just pairing, right? That's the key part here. It's whatever the team is.
Yeah.
And this is better than just doing a screen share. You're able to pull up your tool, whatever the tool is, in this case it's Lens, and see it as it's happening there. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to all of it, but this is a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, and when you think about it, I don't know if you ever worked, but I assume you did in an office, right? How many times did you just stand up and said, "John, come here, and let's do this together," type of stuff. And we cannot do that anymore in that way.
Right. Having tools to allow you to do that will make a big. Hotbar was another thing, which I'm not a gamer, so I don't understand the concept. Is now the main method using users to pick and choose most commonly used functions. Oh, okay. So I guess it's sort of like the Slack command bar or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So sharing, but this last one, the secure access to clusters, secure access sharing. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Cluster Connect. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
new lens 5. There it is. Okay. We talked about kube cost a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there was a new CNCF report that came out recently about spend. How much has your Kubernetes related spend changed in the past year? So above the remain consistent, you're talking, what, 65%? They probably gave the number here. 68% are spending more on Kubernetes spend.
Yeah.
And that's
I
not
hope that-
surprising.
I hope that there is a bit more information because, adoption of Kubernetes is increasing. And I don't mean adoption that more and more companies are using Kubernetes, but that the percentage of the workload that companies have is increasing. I mean, the percentage of the workload being moved to Kubernetes. So if last year, on average, a company, and I'm inventing numbers, was having 5% of their workloads in Kubernetes, now it jumps to 10. That's a very logical reason for increase of the cost.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that that's the reason, just to clarify. There's probably a lot of waste. Just as, I don't know if I think that now we're much better with it, but years ago, we had exactly the same problem with cloud, right? That people started creating VMs left and right and never shutting them down.
Yeah, but here was the thing. That what kind of monitoring do you have in place for cost? No monitoring and estimates. I mean, that's scary.
It's very scary. But it's new. Again, it's something
is new.
very new. Like, I had a question maybe a few days ago. One person asked me, hey, how do you define horizontal pod auto scaling, right? How do you define, when it should scale up and down? And then we went into that discussion. Before we talk about scaling, we need to talk about you defining resources. And there is no way that you will define how much memory and CPU your applications need on day one. Because you need to run them in production for a while, and then you need to start getting metrics. And then you need to start getting a better picture of how much something consumes. And that's in an ideal situation. That's in a situation that you're very proficient with Kubernetes. You already know what to do. And then if you're lucky, you start getting data a while later. And for most of people are not proficient yet with Kubernetes.
Right. Now here's the actual report from the CNCF. Here's the full. They drew the pictures a little bit different here, but it's a short report. But as more organizations, again, this goes back to what we were saying, as more organizations adopt cloud-native architectures and scale Kubernetes environments, the cloud cost will rise. But then uncovered a disconnect between rising expenses and how well respondents have been able to accurately and effectively monitor costs. Again, that's no different than the past.
Yeah. What I would be interested to see is among the companies that are already in public cloud. I'm excluding those on-prem because the cost of moving to cloud is you cannot compare it with the cost of running on-prem, right? Because you already have servers and stuff like that. But companies that were already running in public cloud, paying for infrastructure, and then they move to Kubernetes on that same cloud, how did that reflect in costs? That would be interesting to see.
Right, because if they had been VMing or doing, let's use AWS for an example, if they were already using Elastic Beanstalk to run their container workloads just for historical purposes,
yeah,
and then they move to EKS, what is their net? Is it a net positive or net negative?
Exactly. That would be something interesting to compare. And it's comparable, right?
Yeah.
There are many things you cannot really compare.
So anyway, thought that was pretty interesting. Just to, again, a story as old as time. How are we spending our money?
Yeah.
New tech is probably wasting money a lot, but hey, that's what it is.
I mean, but it's also with the promise of saving money. Most companies will never invest if there is no promise that they will get something back.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why enterprises are moving slowly. You cannot just go to a bank and say, I would like Kubernetes. Why? Because I like it. No. There needs to be a reason, financial reason for everything.
As I saw somebody asking about S390 yesterday, wanting to do work on S390, I went, yeah, I guess that is still S390 mainframe.
Okay.
Old mainframe. New applications running on S390. I'll just put it that way. So anyway, people that have more gray hair than I do are working on it, I think. So I saw this week. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's a command line tool that abstracts away Kubernetes.
Okay, that's cool.
Good,
I mean, as a
good
statement.
to be true. Yeah. So run a command in a Kubernetes cluster without any deployments, without any registry, without doing anything. So let's get to the example here. Oh, the to-do application sample. I thought I'd... Oh, yeah. Okay, whatever. Okay, I don't remember. I got confused. Maybe I'm confusing this with a different one. Anyway, some examples. You can run a command shell or a command shell in an Alpine container. Okay, I can do that already. Do a DNS lookup of an Alpine container. I don't know. This just looked weird. I don't remember where I saw this, but it looked weird enough for me to talk about it today.
The beef I have with similar tools, and I'm not including this one because I haven't used it yet, is that if you cannot be too opinionated, because then you're removing the advantages of using Kubernetes, right? If you say, hey, I'm going to abstract Kubernetes, you execute this command and your application is up and running, and that application is obviously a deployment with a service with ingress and what's not, right? That kind of removes the reason to run Kubernetes in the first place, at least from my perspective, right? Because Kubernetes gives us so many possibilities. And if I remove 99% of those possibilities, then I might be better off without Kubernetes in the first place. I don't know whether this is the case with this tool, right? But it's very hard to find something that is simplifying lives of others without creating some highly opinionated something. And highly opinionated is good, but it's extremely hard because your highly opinionated something needs to include many permutations of what your users need.
Or not. Because...
Or not. But then you say, hey, user, kind of like, this is what it is, whatever that is, you buy it or you don't, depending on whether you need exactly this. The problem is that whatever the exactly this is, that works only with small companies. If it's exactly like this and nothing else.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what I'm getting to is there's nothing wrong with having an extremely opinionated way of doing things. Where I believe buyers get confused. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy that, but now I need you to make I need you to change 95% of what you sold me. And that as a product company, you don't want to be put in that position.
Yeah. And this is kind of, I think that this is there are areas where small companies cannot compete with giants like AWS and so on and so forth. And this one might be one of those areas, because if Amazon does, hey, this is highly opinionated way how to do something like Copilot, right? Copilot is highly opinionated way to deploy your applications. But that is so much more interesting than for at least for medium and big size companies, because there are thousands of other opinionated services in Amazon. And then you're not locked into one way of doing things. You can, hey, yeah, we can use Lambda for this, and we can use EKS for that, and we can use this for that, and so on and so forth. So kind of like because of the sheer volume of very highly opinionated services, companies are not really forced to ignore the existence of the needs that they had before they started using that service, because there are many others.
And with AWS, how many different ways can you run a container? Let me count the ways. Right? That's
Yeah,
many.
but we don't have ours
No, we
in
don't.
this stream.
No, we don't. Okay, same way, KDO. Devtron, another interesting one that I saw. Okay, there we go. An open source software delivery workflow for Kubernetes written in Go. Okay, we can already tell that that was written by an engineer and not by a marketing person. Lots of big words.
I was about to ask, why do I care that it's written in Go?
Next.
Why is that important? Is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of. I don't care as a user. I mean, as a contributor, yeah, but I'm going to find out when I start contributing. No worries.
Okay. Why Devtron? It is designed as a self-service platform for operationalizing and maintaining applications. Oh, wait, here's a new one. App ops on Kubernetes in a developer-friendly way. App ops.
Yeah, okay. Bonus point for inventing a new term. At least I haven't heard that one before.
I haven't either. Lots of other features and whatnot here, but
I think it's potentially interesting.
Yes, I agree. It does look interesting.
The thing is that this reminds me of, let's say, DockerCons. I don't know if you were attending DockerCons, at least in first 4 or 5 years. Is that there are certain segments, new segments of the market, and then dozens of companies are entering with exactly the same ideas, doing exactly the same thing. And then when I go to the DockerCon next year, most of them are not exhibitors anymore, right? What I want to say is that is kind of, I hear every week of the new tool that is exactly like that. Exactly like that. I mean, I think that's okay, kind of like, but it's such a uninventive thing to approach, kind of like, okay, so you just made another company that is doing the same thing as everybody else. I might be wrong. I haven't looked at it in detail.
Yeah.
No.
So
am I too negative today? Yeah, probably am.
Onboarding, probably. Onboarding a little bit. First, it was HR onboarding, right? It was engineering onboarding. That's better. Not saying. I'll push into there anyway. Now, I will say their site looks pretty cool. I will give them that.
Oh yeah. That looks cool. Is that the same thing that we saw a few minutes ago? Yeah. Looks good. I think that I'm losing my internet connection or you're losing yours. Okay, I think that we lost Darin, so I will need to speak about something. I'm not sure about what to speak about because he has all the news. He'll be back in a second, probably. Anyways, yeah, the market is saturated with exactly the same tools. This might not be one of those, but that's how it looks like. I think that Darin is putting me on the front. So what else? What else can I talk about while Darin is coming back? Probably, yeah. So join the Outbound. I'll be working with Crossplane. Extremely excited about it, and I might use actually this opportunity to say it publicly. The moment I announced that I left my previous company, I got like offers from 30, 40 companies, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But I had to choose one, and I chose Outbound.
I don't
there
know what
he
happened.
is.
I'm back. I'm sorry. It's
That's okay.
Summertime in the Carolinas and internet goes out. Okay, so I'm glad you got to talk about that. I sort of figured out what you were talking about based on the last sentence. Let's go look at Direktiv. Now, we were just talking about Devtron. Direktiv feels similar but different. It's event-based serverless container workflows. Look, people, we got to come up with shorter names for things. It's
Yeah.
Now, I am a chief offender of this as well, I know. So I'm trying to, it's sort of a joke, but not really. It's like, sorry, I really didn't have time to think about how to make this short for you after I give you a big, long set of things. Direktiv is an equivalent of AWS step functions or Google Cloud workflows or Alibaba's serverless workflows. Have you done anything with Alibaba yet?
Very limited.
Okay. Sorry, that was just one of those weird things. So you can go off and do serverless workflows. So again, if I am in AWS or Google GCP or I'm in Alibaba, why would I want a third-party service? Now, I know the answers to that, but why?
You don't. I mean, you do want if there is something exceptionally better offered by that service, which in this case, I haven't tried it yet.
Oh. And it can be triggered by cloud events. Okay, good. Cloud events, thumbs up. But they're, where's their site? There it is. New development environment. This is the reason why I added this. You can run a Direktiv instance on your laptop and VS Code
Okay,
integration.
nice.
So up to this point, you weren't able to do that. You had to do the other. So this is sort of that reaching more towards the application developer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, bottom-up approach after realizing that top-down doesn't work.
oh, wait. Say that again. And you're going to get full screen for this. I want you to explain why bottom-up has won and top-down has failed.
I mean, in most, why, to explain why, because developers today, engineers, have much bigger say in what companies are adopting. The decisions are not made by a single person. So you cannot just do top-down and say, hey, I'm going to find that CTO that decides about every single technology that the company is going to use and sign me a big check. It's basically for most part, maybe not for all areas, maybe security and a few others are exempt from that right now. But for most companies, it's all about finding a person who is going to start paying for an application that already everybody else is using for free. And that's a bottom-up approach.
Is that your final answer?
I don't know the question, so maybe it's not.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the reason why I included Direktiv. Anytime I can see things shifting left, as much as we poke at Docker and Docker Compose, they are being focused on the developers right now.
Yeah.
Right. That is a true statement. So the more that we see people doing the same thing, I would have to say the chances of a project or product being successful is to get it all the way to the left. So
yeah. Wait, can you go up just for a second?
Right.
What the heck? No, the Docker run privilege. What the heck is that?
Oh dear.
No,
Really?
because below that it says this is starting K3S, I think. Wait a couple of minutes for K3S, Knative and Direktiv components to start.
I wonder if they're wrapping K3S inside of here.
I'm guessing that container is actually spinning up those three.
Yeah.
No.
Or this container is the tooling container that then does
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
Exactly. It's something like that. Anyway, it's weird.
I know why that's there that's just not a good thing in general.
Yeah, and also kind of like, whatever is the way that you're going to run the thing remotely in your cluster, just use the same way locally. That's it. It says use that. Anyways, looks cool though.
Yeah. So, and I will do my best. I've been sort of slack the past few weeks getting the links in. I'm going to try to get stuff caught up this weekend. It may or may not happen, though. It may be another week. Let's get into your videos for the week. vCluster.
I love it. I rarely say I love it without but this one is absolutely amazing. I think.
And why do you say that? Explain. Okay, so for people that haven't watched the video yet, explain what vCluster is without doing the whole video again.
So it's about creating virtual clusters, meaning Kubernetes clusters inside of Kubernetes clusters. And they did it in a really good way because you get a completely not isolated, but you get a cluster within a cluster, yet the things that matter are running on the parent cluster, so you don't have performance issues, which you would normally have if you would run that. And I can imagine a zillion of use cases, like pipelines. Hey, you just created a pull request, you want to deploy something somewhere, create a big cluster. Deploy your applications, destroy the big cluster, right? When pull request is closed. You want to give this team a cluster, let them create a virtual cluster, and so on and so forth. It simplifies so many things that were complicated because we had to create infinite number of clusters, or we had to fight with namespaces and then the restrictions within namespaces. Just being able to create a cluster in a matter of seconds without creating a real cluster, and yet that being with almost the same performance as real clusters is absolutely amazing.
So you don't have any real security concerns with this? Because you said the things that are important actually run on the host.
Yeah, I do have security concerns, and I had a couple of conversations about it. And by the way, I'm not a security expert. Let's start with a disclaimer. But there are security concerns. But after I went to it a bit deeper, vCluster is not trying really to address those security concerns because vCluster is aiming to become a certified Kubernetes cluster, which means that whatever insecurities you have with Kubernetes in general, you will have with vCluster as well. Like, hey, can you run privileged containers in vCluster? Yes, because you can run them in Kubernetes in the first place. So you would need to take the same approach from security perspective for vCluster as you would do for a normal cluster. That means creating policies and what's or not. So there are potential security concerns, let's put it that way. If you just use vCluster without, you just spin up a new cluster by default one and then start running vCluster there, yes.
Right. So, and the other one that you had talked about was Capsule, I believe was the other one?
Capsule, yes. Capsule is kind of different approach. It's just, not just, that sounds as if disrespectful, right. But it is trying really to enable tenants to create namespaces within a cluster without giving those tenants cluster-wide permissions, right?
Right.
So it is more kind of like closer to being Kubernetes without really creating separate cluster for everybody. And I like Capsule in terms that since everything is running in a single Kubernetes cluster, I think from administrative perspective, it is potentially better because I, as a cluster admin, I can have a complete view of everything happening in my cluster. From the same operational perspective, if I use virtual clusters, then actually I do not have easy view of what is happening inside of those clusters, right? I know only about the pods and services because pods and services created directly or indirectly in virtual clusters are propagated to the host cluster. So from an operational perspective, actually, Capsule might be slightly better, from administrative perspective, but from as a user experience, vCluster is better because I have complete 100% feeling that this is my cluster. With Capsule, I could not create CRDs. I have no cluster-wide permissions. I'm really limited to the namespaces I create. So I couldn't, for example, as a user of Capsule, I couldn't create, say, okay, so you're giving me, I'm becoming a tenant here. I want to install Argo CD. You cannot do that because Argo CD creates CRDs, which require cluster-wide permissions. You could run Argo CD in or anything else in vCluster.
Right.
So slightly better from user, one slightly better from user perspective, the other one slightly better from admin perspective.
Okay. And then the one that came out on Thursday, I guess it was yesterday, OPA versus Kyverno. Now, I have not had a chance to watch this yet.
Yeah. So summary, short. So first of all, both are policy engines for Kubernetes, with the exception that OPA is a policy engine for everything, but I was limiting that to Kubernetes only, right? Summary. Kyverno is more Kubernetes friendly, more Kubernetes native. It's just much better and easier experience. OPA allows you to do things that Kyverno does not necessarily allow you to do. Whether you need those things or no, it's up to each of you. So kind of like better user experience, more closer to being Kubernetes native. Kyverno doing funky stuff that nobody ever, that you probably shouldn't be doing, but you want to do. OPA with Gatekeeper. That's my summary. Short one.
Short one. And speaking of summaries, in case you don't watch Victor's videos and you forget to click on the show more, there's a lot more below the show more. You should always check this out, specifically the gist.
Oh yeah,
That's the gist.
the most
Make a big
important
deal.
thing.
Yep. Why did my phone just do that? I'm going to turn that off. I've been getting voicemails from a phone number, but the phone never rings.
Maybe it is you calling yourself from the future.
Maybe. What we were talking about? That could explain the reason why I'm having short-term memory issues right now. If that's really what it was. Okay, so Kyverno OPA. If you're Kubernetes, use Kyverno. If you are mixed
Depends.
load,
If you want to have a full kind of like anything you can ever imagine, Rego, which is a language to define policies in OPA and Gatekeeper, Rego is more powerful. So you just need to ask yourself whether you need that power or no. If you don't, Kyverno is a better choice for Kubernetes only.
so let me restate. Start with Kyverno. If Kyverno starts to fall apart, then move to OPA Gatekeeper.
Yeah, but you know how it works with companies. If you say, imagine, I will not show it to you, but imagine an Excel sheet with feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Whichever tool has more features always wins.
Never mind. I was going to say something I'm not going to say.
Whether you did it or no, it's a separate conversation.
Or whether they actually work as they're written. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So down in the crawl down there, if you haven't joined up the Slack workspace, you can do that. And there are 2 Twitter handles. And like I said, I've got another live stream today that I've got to get ready for. Not in a big rush, but every minute counts. You did your onboarding. Actually, I'm gonna find that for just a second because I want to see how much I can laugh. Who is it?
You need to go to search for Upbound channel.
Yeah, I don't think this is it. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, here, I'm going to share it then. Hang on a second. It's this one, right?
Yeah, that's a channel. Where are the videos? I don't know.
Go videos.
No, I don't know.
They did
It's not
it
there.
private.
Is it private?
I guess.
Maybe I messed up, but maybe it's unlisted.
It
Oh
could
my.
be unlisted.
Here you go. Here's the link in the private chat.
Oh, okay. Well, this will tell me whether or not it's unlisted. Because if it's private, I won't be able to load it. Okay, so we're going to do this live. See what happens. Nope, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
you
don't
are
know
the...
why it's not there.
I don't know either. Because we went straight to the videos page. Graphic
Yeah,
looks
actually,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not what we're talking here, but yeah, it's not here. Oh, wait, past live streams. There it is.
There you go.
Because it was, I said all videos, but, oh, it was just, oh, okay, I didn't scroll down far enough.
There you
My
go.
bad.
There you go.
So you've already had 28 views. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small channel. I think that... Okay, actually, this is amazing result. Take a look at how many subscribers we have.
24.
Yeah. So have you ever seen more views than subscribers?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You got me there.
Yes. Not that that's what we're really going after, but it's a vanity number. We enjoy laughing about it. Okay. You know what? Unless you've got something else, why don't we wrap it up for today? We should be back next week. Everything's starting to settle back in for me, being a little more normal, but still not at the same time. And you've got 2 videos for next week, I would assume?
Yeah, 2 videos. One will be about crossplane. That will be mostly because I started preparing it before I joined Upbound. That will be the last, or I will not be posting much more or any crossplane videos in my channel. That will go to the crossplane channel, mostly to separation between the church and the state.
Yep.
And the other one, I have no idea.
No, yeah, that's
Not yet.
I've got 3 to do for next week. I have one of them figured out. The other 2, that's what this hour in between, that gives me a chance to figure out what my next 2 are going to be on top of the third one. So, okay. Well, I guess that's it, right? Pretty quiet week.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody has a great weekend if you're in the United States. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy your probably Monday off. Most people I know bailed today as well. So some people are taking a super long weekend. So, not me. No rest for the weary.
That's a problem when you change companies frequently, as I do. You never have vacation days. You never get to that point.
We could talk about... Oh, I was going to talk about one thing at the end. What was it? Hang on a second. It was something around GitHub Copilot, and now I don't remember what it was. I should have written it down. Doesn't matter. Because we're going to...
Yeah, you were saying something like, hey, say this, say something about bottom down, top bottom up. I don't know. I thought there was a purpose in that. But
there was, and I didn't write it down, so I don't remember. So it's fine. We all get to start our weekend early.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. If you're still here with us live, go ahead and give us a thumbs up before you split. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. Podcast comes out on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern. And this week, I don't even remember what it is. I haven't started editing it yet. That'll be tonight. So you'll see that on Wednesday. And I think... When are you releasing your videos now? You've shifted around back and forth a little bit.
Monday and Thursday. I mean,
Monday and Thursday
a couple of months. Monday, Thursday, yes.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Because you're stomping on one of my video releases at the same time.
Do I?
We need to talk.
Okay.
Because you're stealing my viewers. We can't do that.
Okay, I can be. I'm very easy to bribe.
It's not.
I'm very easy to bribe. I accept bribes.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you next week.